Have you ever walked through a bustling casino, the symphony of slot machines ringing in your ears, and found your eyes drawn to one specific area? It is often the blackjack tables, a semicircle of focused players surrounding a dealer, where the atmosphere feels different. There is a palpable tension, a quiet intensity that sets it apart from the chaotic luck-based games nearby. It is not just about the clatter of chips or the smooth glide of cards across the green felt. It is about the decisions being made, the silent calculations and the subtle interplay between player and dealer. This is the magnetic pull of blackjack, a game that whispers of a hidden depth beyond mere chance. Many people approach blackjack with a sense of trepidation, believing it to be a complex game reserved for mathematical savants or stone-faced professionals. They might sit down, throw some money on the table, and play based on pure gut instinct, hoping Lady Luck is on their side. They hit when they feel bold and stand when they are scared, often walking away lighter in the pocket and convinced the game is rigged against them. This common experience feeds the myth that winning is an impossible dream, a fluke reserved for the very few. But what if that entire premise is flawed? What if the winners you see are not just lucky, but are playing a different game entirely? The truth is, blackjack stands nearly alone in the pantheon of casino games. Unlike roulette, where the ball lands where it may, or slot machines, which are governed by random number generators, blackjack offers you a crucial element of control. Every decision you make, to take another card, to stay with what you have, to double your bet, or to split your pair, directly influences the outcome of your hand. This is not a passive experience. It is an active engagement with mathematics and probability. The players who consistently leave the table with a smile understand this fundamental principle. They are not just gambling, they are executing a strategy. This guide is your first step toward shifting your perspective from that of a hopeful gambler to a knowledgeable player. We will peel back the layers of mystique that surround the game and reveal the simple, logical framework that underpins it. You do not need to be a genius or a risk-taker to succeed. You just need a willingness to learn the rules, understand the odds, and apply a proven strategy with discipline. The goal is to transform your casino experience from one of hopeful wishing to one of confident execution, empowering you to make the best possible decision with every single hand you are dealt. Imagine two players sitting side by side at the same blackjack table. They are dealt identical hands against the same dealer up card. The first player, relying on a gut feeling, decides to take another card and busts, losing their bet instantly. The second player, however, consults a simple mental checklist based on proven strategy. They know that the correct move in this specific situation is to stand. The dealer then plays out their hand and busts as well, meaning the second player wins their bet. This is not luck. This is the direct result of applying skill. This scenario plays out thousands of times every day in casinos around the world, separating informed players from uninformed ones. The core secret of blackjack is that it is a game of incomplete information where you can make mathematically optimal decisions. The dealer is forced to play by a rigid set of rules. They must hit until they reach 17 or more, regardless of what the players have. You, on the other hand, have the freedom to choose your action based on the two cards in your hand and the one card the dealer is showing. This asymmetry is where your opportunity lies. Basic strategy is a roadmap developed by computers simulating billions of hands that tells you the single most profitable action to take in any given situation. It is the foundation upon which all successful blackjack play is built. By simply memorizing and applying basic strategy, you can dramatically slash the casino's built-in advantage, known as the house edge. For most casino games, the house edge is a fixed, insurmountable barrier. In blackjack, however, your skillful play can reduce that edge to less than 0.5%. This means that, over the long run, you are playing an almost even game against the house. It transforms blackjack from a game of certain loss over time into a contest where you have a legitimate fighting chance to come out ahead in any given session. No other table game offers the average person such a powerful way to influence their own odds of winning. This is why some players consistently seem to win. They have moved beyond hope and superstition. They are not looking for lucky charms or hot streaks. They are leveraging mathematics. They understand that every card dealt from the shoe changes the composition of the remaining deck. And while they may not be counting cards yet, they are making decisions that are correct in the long run. The secret is skill is the dominant factor in blackjack. The game is not just about the cards you are dealt, but about how you choose to play them. It is a puzzle waiting to be solved, and this guide will give you all the pieces you need. This guide is designed to be your comprehensive introduction to the world of intelligent blackjack play. We will start from the very beginning, assuming you know absolutely nothing about the game. Our first stop will be the fundamentals. We will break down the objective of the game in simple terms, explain the value of each card, and walk you through the flow of a typical hand. You will learn the meaning of essential terms like hit, stand, double down, split, and bust. By the end of this foundational section, you will have the confidence to sit down at a table and play your first hands without feeling lost or intimidated by the process. Once you have a firm grasp of the basics, we will dive into the most critical element of successful play: basic strategy. This is where you will transition from a casual player to a strategic one. We will present the strategy in an easy-to-understand format, showing you exactly what to do based on your hand and the dealer's visible card. We will cover the most important decisions like when to split pairs of aces and eights, why you should never take insurance, and how to handle tricky hands like a 16 against a dealer's 10. This section is the core of the guide, providing you with the mathematical tools to minimize the house edge and maximize your chances. Of course, playing with skill is only half the battle. You also need to manage your money effectively. A brilliant strategist with poor bankroll management will go broke just as quickly as a novice. Therefore, we will dedicate a section to the principles of smart gambling. You will learn how to set a budget for your session, how to size your bets appropriately to withstand the natural swings of the game, and most importantly, how to develop the discipline to walk away when you have reached your predetermined win or loss limits. This knowledge is crucial for long-term survival and enjoyment of the game. Finally, we will demystify the legendary technique of card counting. We will separate the Hollywood myth from the practical reality, explaining what it is, how it works, and why it is not illegal, though casinos certainly do not like it. We will introduce you to a simple counting system and discuss how it gives you a genuine edge over the house. We will also cover the important topic of casino heat and provide tips on how to play skillfully without drawing unwanted attention. This guide will equip you with a complete toolkit, taking you from a curious beginner to a confident and informed blackjack player ready to take on the tables. Before you place your first bet, it is essential to understand the fundamental objective of blackjack, which is surprisingly simple and often misunderstood. Your primary goal is not to get a hand total of 21. While achieving a 21 is an excellent outcome, your actual objective is to beat the dealer's hand. You can accomplish this in two primary ways, either by having a higher final hand total than the dealer without exceeding 21, or by not exceeding 21 yourself while the dealer's hand goes over, an event known as busting. Many novice players focus solely on their own cards, agonizing over getting as close to 21 as possible. But the game is always a direct contest against the dealer, not the other players at the table. The game is played on a semi-circular table, typically accommodating around 7 players, all of whom are competing individually against the dealer. The dealer stands behind the table facing the players and is responsible for dealing the cards and managing the bets. In front of each player is a designated area, usually a square or a circle, where they place their wager. The game begins after all players have placed their chips in their respective betting spots. The dealer will then deal the cards from a device called a shoe, which can hold anywhere from 1 to 8 decks of standard playing cards. The more decks used, the slightly higher the house advantage becomes, a detail we will explore later. A key aspect to grasp is that the other players at your table have no direct impact on your chances of winning or losing in the long run. A common superstition is that a player making a bad move can ruin the hand for everyone else. For instance, if the player to your right takes a card that would have busted the dealer, you might feel frustrated. However, it is equally likely that their bad move could take a card that would have busted you, thereby saving your hand. The sequence of cards is random, and blaming other players is a fruitless exercise. Your focus should remain squarely on your own hand, the dealer's visible card, and making the mathematically correct decision every single time. The casino establishes a set of rigid rules that the dealer must follow, which removes any element of strategy or choice from their play. Typically, these rules are printed directly on the felt of the table for all to see, with the most common rule being dealer must hit on soft 17 or dealer stands on all 17s. This means the dealer has no discretion. They must continue to take cards until their hand total is 17 or higher. This strict procedural requirement is a critical piece of information for the player. It creates a predictable opponent, and the entirety of basic strategy is built around exploiting this predictability to your advantage, giving you a powerful edge that does not exist in other casino games. To play the game, you first need to know the value of your tools, the cards themselves. In Blackjack, the card values are straightforward and easy to remember. All numbered cards from 2 through 10 are worth their face value. A 7 is worth 7 points, a 2 is worth 2, and so on. The face cards, the Jack, Queen, and King, are all valued at 10 points each. This makes the deck rich with 10 value cards, a fact that becomes incredibly important in strategic decision-making. The most unique and powerful card in the deck is the Ace. The Ace has a flexible value and can be counted as either 1 point or 11 points, whichever is more advantageous for your hand. A hand that contains an Ace counted as 11 is known as a soft hand. For example, an Ace and a 6 can be either 7 or 17. This is called a soft 17 because you cannot bust by taking another card. If you were to hit and receive a 10, your total would not be 27. Instead, the Ace's value would automatically revert to 1, making your new total 17, 1 plus 6 plus 10. A hand without an Ace, or where the Ace must be counted as 1 to avoid busting, is called a hard hand. For instance, a 10 and a 7 is a hard 17. This distinction between soft and hard hands is crucial, as the correct strategy for playing them can be vastly different. Once all players have made their bets, the hand begins. The dealer deals 2 cards to each player and 2 to themselves. In most blackjack games, the player's cards are dealt face up. The dealer, however, receives 1 card face up, the up card, and 1 card face down, which is called the hole card. The dealer's up card is the single most important piece of information you have to work with. It is the primary variable you will use to determine the best course of action for your own hand. Your entire strategic decision-making process will revolve around the potential of the dealer's hidden hole card, based on the 1 card you can see. The ultimate initial hand is being dealt a 2-card total of 21, which consists of an Ace and any 10-value card, a 10, Jack, Queen, or King. This is called a blackjack or a natural. If you are dealt a blackjack, you are an automatic winner unless the dealer also has a blackjack. A winning blackjack hand is typically paid at a higher rate than a standard win. Most tables pay 3-2 for a blackjack, meaning a $10 bet would win you $15. Some less favorable games pay only 6-5, which significantly increases the house edge. Always look for a table that offers the 3-2 payout for a natural blackjack. After the initial cards are dealt, the action proceeds clockwise around the table, starting with the player to the dealer's left, sometimes called first base. When it is your turn to act, you have several choices available. The most common decision is to hit, which means you want to take another card to improve your hand total. You signal this to the dealer by tapping your finger on the table. You can continue to hit as many times as you like, but be careful. If at any point your hand total exceeds 21, you bust and immediately lose your wager. The dealer will collect your cards and your chips, and your part in the hand is over. If you are satisfied with your initial 2-card total, or after hitting, you can choose to stand. This means you do not want any more cards and will play with the total you currently have. To signal this, you simply wave your hand horizontally over your cards. This ends your turn, and the action moves to the next player. The decision of when to hit versus when to stand is the most frequent choice you will make in blackjack. It forms the very core of basic strategy. Knowing whether to risk taking another card or to stay put based on your hand and the dealer's up card is the fundamental skill you must master to improve your game. Under specific circumstances, you have 2 additional, more aggressive options. The first is to double down. This allows you to double your original bet in exchange for receiving exactly 1 more card and only 1. This is a powerful move when you have a strong starting hand and the dealer's up card is weak, giving you a high probability of winning. For example, it is often correct to double down on a total of 11. The second option is to split. If your first 2 cards are a pair of the same rank, like 2 8s or 2 aces, you can split them into 2 separate hands, placing an additional bet equal to your original wager on the second hand. Finally, there is a less common option called surrender, which is not offered at all tables. If you believe your starting 2-card hand is very weak against the dealer's up card, some casinos allow you to surrender your hand immediately. When you surrender, you forfeit half of your original bet, and the hand ends for you right there. While it may seem counterintuitive to give up without playing, surrendering in specific, very unfavorable situations is the mathematically correct play, as it saves you money in the long run. Understanding these 5 core actions, hit, stand, double down, split, and surrender, equips you with the complete set of tools needed to play any hand you are dealt. If you want to move beyond being a casual gambler and become a knowledgeable blackjack player, there is one concept you must embrace above all others: basic strategy. So what exactly is it? Basic strategy is a complete set of rules that dictates the single most profitable move you can make for every possible hand combination you could be dealt against every possible dealer up card. It is not based on guesswork, feelings, or superstition. It is the result of pure mathematics derived from computer simulations that have run through billions of blackjack hands to determine the optimal decision that maximizes your winnings or minimizes your losses over the long term. It is the ultimate cheat sheet for playing perfect blackjack. Think of basic strategy as the foundational blueprint for a sturdy house. Without it, you are just nailing boards together based on what feels right, and the structure is bound to collapse. With the blueprint, every action you take is precise, calculated, and serves a specific purpose. Basic strategy tells you exactly when to hit, stand, double down, split, or surrender. By following it without deviation, you are leveraging the power of probability to its fullest extent. This is the single most effective tool a player has to combat the casino's inherent advantage. It transforms the game from one of pure chance into a contest of skill where your decisions profoundly matter. Many beginners are intimidated by the idea of memorizing a chart, but it is far simpler than it looks. The logic behind the decisions is quite intuitive once you grasp the core principles. For example, the strategy often advises you to be more aggressive when the dealer shows a weak up card, like a 4, 5, or 6. This is because the dealer has a higher chance of busting with these cards, as they must hit until they reach at least 17. Conversely, when the dealer shows a strong card, like a 9, 10, or ace, the strategy advises you to play more conservatively, as the dealer is more likely to have a strong final hand. The most incredible benefit of employing basic strategy is its immediate and dramatic impact on the house edge. In most casino games, the house has a fixed advantage of anywhere from 2% to over 15% that you can do nothing about. However, by simply playing blackjack according to perfect basic strategy, you can slash the house edge to a mere 0.5% in most games. This means for every $100 you bet over time, your theoretical loss is only 50 cents. It puts you on a nearly level playing field with the casino, giving you a real fighting chance to walk away a winner in any given session. At first glance, a basic strategy chart can seem like a daunting grid of colors and letters. However, learning to read it is a simple process that unlocks the game's secrets. The chart is typically organized with your hand total along the vertical axis and the dealer's visible up card along the horizontal axis. To find the correct play, you simply find the row corresponding to your hand and the column corresponding to the dealer's card. The cell where they intersect contains the mathematically correct action: H for hit, S for stand, D for double down, and P for split. This simple cross-referencing process eliminates all doubt from your decision-making. Let's walk through a few of the non-negotiable cornerstone plays of basic strategy that you should commit to memory first. One of the most important rules is to always split a pair of aces and a pair of eights. Splitting aces gives you 2 powerful starting hands, each beginning with an 11. Splitting eights turns one of the worst possible hands, a hard 16, into 2 much more promising hands that start with 8 each. On the flip side, you should never split a pair of 10s. A hand of 20 is a powerhouse, and you're already a probable winner. Why risk breaking up a great hand for 2 potentially weaker ones? Another critical area of basic strategy involves how to play your hard totals, especially those tricky hands between 12 and 16. These are often called stiff hands because they are likely to bust if you take another card. The general rule is to stand on these hands if the dealer is showing a weak up card, a 2 through 6. The logic is that you should not risk busting yourself when the dealer is in a precarious position and likely to bust themselves. However, if the dealer is showing a strong up card, a 7 through ace, you must hit, even at the risk of busting. Standing on a 16 against a dealer's 10 is a losing play in the long run. The good news is that you do not have to have the entire chart perfectly memorized before you sit down to play. Many casinos are perfectly fine with players using a printed basic strategy card right at the table. They know that even a perfect player still faces a small house edge, and they would rather have an educated player who enjoys the game than a frustrated one who loses quickly and leaves. Using a card is a fantastic way to build confidence and ensure you are making the correct play every single time. It is your most valuable tool, so do not be afraid to use it. The single greatest challenge in mastering basic strategy is not memorizing the chart, but having the discipline to follow it religiously. There will be countless times when your gut feeling, a hunch, or a player's intuition will scream at you to do the opposite of what the chart says. For instance, you might have a hard 16 against a dealer's 10. The chart says to hit, but you have busted on 16 the last 3 times. Your brain will tell you to stand, to play it safe. This is the moment where successful players separate themselves from the rest. They trust the math, not the fleeting emotion of the moment. The key to understanding this is to think in terms of long-term probability, not short-term results. The outcome of any single hand is irrelevant. You might make the correct play and still lose. You might make a terrible play and get lucky with a win. These individual results do not validate or invalidate the strategy. Basic strategy is not a guarantee that you will win every hand. It is a guarantee that you are making the most profitable decision possible over thousands of hands. Every time you deviate from it based on a hunch, you are voluntarily giving the house a bigger advantage and costing yourself money in the long run. This is why discipline is paramount. You have to train yourself to become a machine, executing the correct play without hesitation or second guessing. A common mistake is what is known as playing with scared money. If the bet size makes you too nervous to hit a 12 against a dealer's 3 because you are afraid of losing, then you are betting too much. Your decision should be based on strategy, not on the monetary value of the chips in front of you. Every hand, whether it is for $5 or $500, has the same mathematically correct way to be played. True mastery comes when you can apply the strategy flawlessly, regardless of the stakes. Ultimately, internalizing basic strategy is about building a deep-seated trust in the numbers. It is about understanding that the game of blackjack is a mathematical puzzle, and the chart is the answer key. When you follow it, you are playing like a professional. You are minimizing your risk, maximizing your opportunities, and giving yourself the best possible shot at success. It removes the emotional roller coaster of gambling and replaces it with a calm, confident, and calculated approach. So print out that chart, practice it, and make a commitment to stick with it. Your bankroll will thank you for it. You can master basic strategy until you can recite it in your sleep. You might even have the potential to count cards like a seasoned professional. However, without the crucial skill of money management, none of that knowledge will save you from going broke. Think of your blackjack skills as a high-performance race car and your bankroll as the fuel. It does not matter how powerful the engine is. If you run out of gas, you are out of the race. Money management is the unsung hero of successful gambling. It is the disciplined practice of protecting your capital so you can stay in the game long enough for your skills to actually pay off. The reality of blackjack, even when played perfectly, is that it involves swings of fortune. You will experience exhilarating winning streaks where every decision feels golden, and you will endure frustrating losing streaks where it seems you cannot catch a break. These fluctuations are a natural and unavoidable part of the game. A player without a solid money management plan will often react emotionally to these swings. They will bet recklessly during a winning streak, giving all their profits back, or they will chase their losses with bigger and bigger bets during a downturn, a surefire path to financial ruin. Proper bankroll management is your shield against this emotional volatility. At its core, money management is about making a clear distinction between your gambling money and your real-life money. The funds you take to a casino should be money you have specifically set aside for entertainment, and it must be an amount you are fully prepared to lose without it affecting your daily life. Never, under any circumstances, should you gamble with money intended for rent, bills, or other essential expenses. This is the golden rule. By treating your gambling funds as a dedicated entertainment budget, you remove the life or death pressure from your decisions and allow yourself to play with a clear, strategic mind instead of one clouded by financial fear. Ultimately, the goal of smart money management is survival. Your primary objective at the blackjack table is not just to win, but to stay in action. A player who can manage their funds effectively can withstand a long losing streak and still be at the table when the cards inevitably turn in their favor. A reckless player, on the other hand, will be wiped out by the first significant downturn and will not be around to enjoy the recovery. Before you even think about advanced techniques, you must first become a master of your own wallet. It is the most critical skill for longevity and success in the casino environment. Establish a session bankroll before entering the casino. Decide on the maximum amount you're willing to risk, say $300. If you lose that, your playing day is over, no exceptions. This rule prevents a bad session from becoming a financial disaster. Next, determine your betting unit, ideally 1 to 2% of your bankroll. For a $300 bankroll, a $5 bet is strategic. Small bets help you withstand the game's swings. Consistency in bet size is key. Avoid increasing bets to chase losses. It's a quick way to deplete your bankroll. Each hand is independent. Losing streaks don't affect future outcomes. Stick to your unit size and trust the process. Choose tables with minimum bets matching your unit size. A $5 unit means finding a $5 minimum table. This approach sets you up for success before the first card is dealt. Having a loss limit is crucial, but so is setting a win goal. No winning streak lasts forever. The casino's edge will catch up. Set a realistic win goal, like 50% of your initial bankroll. For a $300 bankroll, aim for a $150 profit. Once you reach your goal, cash out and enjoy your success. This discipline prevents giving back your profits. Treat your loss limit as an unbreakable rule. Walking away after hitting your loss limit shows immense discipline. Combining win goals and loss limits gives you a clear exit strategy. You know when to leave, either reaching your win goal or hitting your loss limit. This removes guesswork and emotion from quitting decisions. Mastering the art of walking away is the final piece of money management. It separates casual players from strategic ones. Card counting can tilt the odds in your favor. It's not about genius-level intellect or photographic memory. Card counting tracks the ratio of high to low cards played. A deck rich in high cards favors the player. Low cards favor the dealer. Knowing the deck's composition helps you adjust your bets. Bet small when the odds favor the house, big when they favor you. Card counting is simple addition and subtraction, not memorization. A positive count means more low cards have been played. A negative count means more high cards have been played. This technique gives skilled players a mathematical edge. It turns blackjack into a game with a positive expectation. Card counting transforms hope into expectation. The high-low system is a popular card counting method. Low cards, 2 through 6, are +1. High cards, 10 through ace, are -1. Middle cards, 7 through 9, are neutral. Start at 0 after the shuffle and adjust your count as cards are dealt. The running count tells you the deck's state. Convert the running count to a true count by dividing by remaining decks. A true count of +2 means the deck is rich in high cards. Adjust your bets based on the true count. Bet minimum when the true count is 0 or negative. Increase bets as the true count rises. Multiply your base unit by the true count for your bet size. This method, called a bet spread, extracts profit from the game. Practice counting down a deck at home. Maintain the count in a noisy, distracting casino environment. The high-low system is simple but requires focus and practice. It turns blackjack into a game of skill. Hollywood glamorizes card counting, but reality is different. Card counting is not illegal. It's strategic thinking. Casinos can refuse service to suspected counters. They may observe you closely or ask you to leave. Card counting is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It requires practice, discipline, and a significant bankroll. The advantage is small, so expect long losing streaks. Successful counters blend in and avoid drawing attention. Vary your bet spread, engage in conversation, and tip the dealer. The goal is to be invisible while gaining an edge. Card counting is about maintaining focus and discretion. It's not about being a genius, but about being strategic. The true art is balancing gaining an edge while appearing ordinary. Mastering this balance is key to successful card counting. It's a long-term investment, not a quick win. Section 1. The Art of Blending In, How to Avoid Unwanted Attention. Once you have armed yourself with basic strategy and the principles of card counting, you possess a powerful toolkit. However, wielding this knowledge inside a casino is a delicate art form. The single most important skill for a successful advantage player is not just playing well, but playing without being noticed. Casinos invest heavily in surveillance and train their staff, from the dealers to the pit bosses, to spot players who deviate from typical gambling patterns. A player whose bets swing wildly from the table minimum to a large wager precisely when the count is high is like a flashing neon sign. Your first priority, therefore, is to master the art of camouflage and blend seamlessly into the casino environment. To avoid drawing heat, you need to think like an actor playing a role. Your character is that of a casual tourist or a slightly superstitious gambler, not a cold, calculating strategist. Engage in light conversation with the dealer and other players. Talk about the shows you have seen or the buffet you enjoyed. Order a drink, but be careful with alcohol consumption, as it can dull your focus. These simple social interactions make you appear less robotic and more like a typical player who is there for entertainment. A player who sits silently for hours with an intense, unbroken stare fixed on the cards is a red flag for casino staff who are trained to look for exactly that kind of behavior. Another crucial aspect of blending in is to manage your bet spread intelligently. A classic sign of a card counter is someone who bets the table minimum for hand after hand, and then suddenly puts out a bet 10 or 20 times larger. While this is the mathematically optimal way to exploit your edge, it is also the fastest way to get caught. You need to temper your bet spread to be less obvious. Instead of a jarring jump, you might increase your bets more gradually as the count rises. You can also throw in an occasional, slightly larger bet when the count is neutral, just to muddy the waters and make your betting pattern seem less predictable and more based on hunches. Finally, do not be afraid to make small strategic deviations from perfect play if you feel you are being watched. This is a higher-level concept known as cover play. For example, you might take insurance on a big bet when the count does not justify it, just to signal to a watching pit boss that you are not a knowledgeable counter, as counters know insurance is a bad bet. You might also stand on a 16 against a dealer's 10 once in a while, a common mistake that amateurs make. While these plays have a small negative cost, they can buy you valuable time and anonymity, allowing you to continue playing without being asked to leave. Surviving and thriving in the casino environment requires more than just good camouflage. It demands an ironclad sense of discipline and discretion in every action you take. Your greatest enemy at the table is often not the dealer or the pit boss, but your own ego and emotions. After a big win, the temptation to gloat or celebrate excessively can be overwhelming. This is a rookie mistake. Drawing attention to your winnings is a surefire way to get a closer look from casino security. Successful players learn to accept big wins and tough losses with the same calm demeanor. They collect their chips quietly and maintain an even keel, never revealing the true significance of the win. Discipline also extends to knowing when to end a session, even if things are going well. If you notice a pit boss paying too much attention to you, or if the dealer is changed and the new one seems to be scrutinizing your play, it is often wise to color up your chips and walk away. Do not wait for them to make a move. The goal is to preserve your ability to play in that casino in the future. Burning out a good casino because you were too stubborn to leave is a short-sighted strategy. There will always be another table, another shoe, another day. The smart player knows that discretion is the better part of valor. Furthermore, be mindful of your patterns beyond a single session. Advantage players often rotate between different casinos rather than playing at the same one for 8 hours a day, every day. Becoming too much of a regular, especially a winning regular, makes you memorable. By spreading your play across different locations and varying the times you visit, you become just another face in the crowd. This approach also helps you learn the unique atmosphere and tolerance levels of different establishments. Some casinos are notoriously quick to back off counters, while others are more lenient. Gaining this intelligence is part of the long-term game. Ultimately, long-term survival is a marathon, not a sprint. It is a continuous exercise in self-control. It means sticking to your bankroll management, following your strategy even during a losing streak, and maintaining your composure under pressure. It means choosing anonymity over acclaim and longevity over a single big score. The players who last for years are not necessarily the most brilliant mathematicians, but the ones who are the most disciplined, discreet, and aware of their surroundings. They treat casino play not as a battle to be won, but as an environment to be navigated with intelligence and subtlety. I will never forget the first time I walked into a casino with the intention of putting my practice into action. I had spent weeks at my kitchen table, drilling basic strategy and counting down decks of cards until it felt like second nature. In the quiet of my home, I was a master. But under the bright lights of the casino floor, surrounded by the constant noise and the watchful eyes of the staff, everything felt different. I sat down at a $10 table, my hands feeling slightly clammy as I pushed my buy-in across the felt. My heart was pounding in my chest, a frantic drumbeat against the symphony of slot machines and distant cheers. This was the first real test. As the dealer started the shuffle, I took a deep breath and reminded myself to start the count at 0. The first few hands were a blur. I found myself struggling to keep the running count accurate while also remembering the correct basic strategy for my hand. A player next to me asked a question, and for a moment, I lost the count completely and had to wait for the next shuffle to reset. It was a humbling experience that taught me a critical lesson. Practicing in a sterile environment is one thing, but performing under pressure is an entirely different skill. The distractions are real, and your focus must be a fortress against them. After about 30 minutes, something started to click. My mind began to filter out the noise, and the process became more automatic. I saw a 4, a 6, and a 2 come out. My mental tally clicked up to +3. A queen and a jack appeared. It dropped back to +1. Then I noticed the running count was steadily climbing. It reached +8, and with about 4 decks left in the shoe, I calculated a true count of +2. This was it. This was the moment I had practiced for. My strategy dictated that I should increase my bet, moving from my standard $10 wager to something more substantial. With a mix of terror and excitement, I slid 3 $10 chips into the betting circle. It felt like a monumental bet, even though it was a calculated move based on the advantage I now held. The dealer dealt the cards, giving me a 10 and a 9, a solid 19. The dealer's up card was a 5, one of the best cards to see. My mind raced, but I forced myself to stay calm and signal to stand. As per the rules, the dealer turned over their whole card and proceeded to draw, eventually busting. The dealer pushed a neat stack of $30 in chips toward me. It was not a life-changing amount, but in that moment, it was everything. I had trusted the math, and it had worked. That first successful bet was a turning point, but the most valuable lessons came from what happened next. As the shoe remained positive, I continued to press my bets. I won a few more hands, and my chip stack grew. With that success came a surge of adrenaline, and a dangerous feeling of invincibility. I noticed my posture changing. I was sitting up straighter, feeling proud. Then I caught the eye of the pit boss, who was lingering just a little longer than usual. It was a subtle glance, but it was enough to send a chill down my spine. I realized instantly that my nervous excitement was making me stand out. This taught me the second crucial lesson of that night: emotional control is just as important as keeping the count. Winning is exciting, but you cannot let it show on your face or in your actions. The best players maintain a consistent, neutral demeanor whether they are winning or losing. I consciously relaxed my shoulders, leaned back slightly, and even struck up a lighthearted conversation with the player next to me about the terrible odds on the roulette wheel. I was no longer just a card counter. I was playing the part of a casual gambler who was having a bit of a lucky run, and the pit boss soon moved on. The night was not all victories. Later I encountered a negative shoe, where the count plummeted as high cards were depleted. My discipline was tested as I had to drop my bets back to the table minimum and endure a series of small, frustrating losses. The old gambler's instinct to chase those losses with a big bet was tempting, but I held firm. I trusted the count and played my small bets, knowing that this was part of the process. This experience solidified the importance of patience. You cannot force a good count, you have to wait for it, and you must protect your bankroll while you do. By the end of the night, I walked away with a modest profit, but the money was secondary. The real prize was the experience itself. I had faced the pressure of a live casino environment and proven to myself that I could execute the strategy. I learned that success was not just about knowing the numbers, but about mastering yourself, your focus, your emotions, and your presence. It taught me that confidence at the blackjack table is not something you are born with. It is forged in the fire of experience, built one hand, one decision, and one deep breath at a time. We have traveled a long way together on this journey, from the basic rules of the game to the advanced art of advantage play. As we conclude, it is essential to distill everything we have learned into a clear, actionable toolkit. These are the pillars upon which all successful blackjack play is built, and they must be approached in order. The very first step, the foundation of your entire strategy, is to internalize the rules and master basic strategy. This is non-negotiable. Before you even think about counting cards or varying your bets, you must be able to play each hand with the mathematical precision that basic strategy provides. This alone will transform you from a hopeful gambler into a formidable opponent for the house. The second pillar, and arguably the most crucial for your longevity, is disciplined money management. A brilliant player with no control over their bankroll will inevitably go broke. You must set firm rules for yourself before you even approach the table. Establish a session bankroll you are comfortable losing, determine a consistent and conservative bet size, and define your win goals and loss limits in advance. This framework protects you from the emotional decisions that lead to ruin. It ensures you can survive the natural variance of the game and stay in action long enough for your skill to shine through. Remember, survival is the prerequisite for success. Once you have built a solid foundation with basic strategy and money management, you can then explore the third pillar, the art of card counting. We have demystified this technique, revealing it not as a magical power but as a practical system of tracking the ratio of high to low cards. By learning a simple system like the high-low count, you can identify moments when the deck is in your favor and strategically increase your bets to press that advantage. This is the step that can finally tilt the odds from the house's favor into your own, creating a long-term positive expectation. It is a skill that requires immense practice, focus, and dedication to master. The final pillar holding everything together is survival in the casino environment. All your skills are useless if you are asked to leave the table. This is where you must become an actor, blending in as a casual player. Avoid looking robotic, engage in light conversation, manage your betting patterns to be less obvious, and never draw attention to your wins. The most successful advantage players are invisible. They understand that discretion and discipline are the keys to long-term play. They know when to walk away, not just when they hit their limits, but when they feel the unwanted glare of casino scrutiny. As you prepare to take these lessons to the tables, keep a few final tips in mind to guide you on your journey. First and foremost, be patient with yourself. You will not become a perfect player overnight. There will be times you forget a basic strategy play or lose the count in the middle of a shoe. This is part of the learning process. Do not get discouraged. The key is to practice consistently, starting at home in a quiet environment before graduating to the noise and pressure of a real casino. Use low-stakes tables to gain live experience without risking a significant portion of your bankroll. Every session, win or lose, is a valuable lesson. Second, always be a student of the game. The world of blackjack is dynamic. Casinos change rules, introduce new side bets, which you should almost always avoid, and alter their procedures. Stay informed about the conditions of the game you're playing. Look for tables with the best rules, a 3-2 payout for blackjack, the dealer standing on soft 17, and options like late surrender. These seemingly small rule variations have a significant impact on the house edge and, consequently, on your bottom line. A knowledgeable player is always scouting for the most favorable conditions to apply their skills and maximize their potential returns. Third, remember that blackjack should, above all, remain a form of entertainment. While we have focused on strategy and winning, it is vital to never bet more than you can comfortably afford to lose. The pressure of playing with scared money will destroy your ability to make rational decisions and follow your strategy. If you find yourself feeling stressed, anxious, or not enjoying the experience, it is a sign to take a break. The goal is to apply skill to a game of chance, not to create financial hardship. The discipline you practice at the table should extend to your overall relationship with the game. Finally, approach the game with confidence. You are now equipped with knowledge that the vast majority of players at the table do not possess. You understand that blackjack is not just about luck, it is a puzzle that can be solved with strategy, discipline, and focus. You know how to protect your money, how to make the right moves, and how to give yourself the best possible chance to win. Walk into that casino with a plan, execute it with precision, and trust in the mathematics you have learned. The cards will fall where they may, but with this guide, you are no longer just a gambler, you are a skilled player. Good luck.